Hey guys, what's going on? Jerome here. I was going to make a video today on the new Chromecast. I got it, I think, last week, and I wanted to make a video on that, but I'm actually going to put that on the back burner because today I forgot that Microsoft had an event for the Surface Pro 4, and in addition to that, they announced a new product called the Surface Book, which is the first laptop that Microsoft has ever made. Now, I'm not in the market for a new laptop. I actually have, this is my trusty Dell. This is an XPS 13. It's an i5 with 128 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, and it does me plenty well. But there's always been some sort of appeal to the Surface Pro. I don't know if it's the touch screen, the fact that I can detach the keyboard from the actual screen, but I kind of want one. And I can't decide whether I want the Surface Pro 4 or the Surface Book that was released. So the Surface Pro 4 is pretty much a nice refresh to the Surface Pro 3. Even though the Surface Pro 4 has a larger display, it retains the same physical dimensions. So it went from a 12-inch display to a 12.3-inch display. It's lighter, it's thinner, it weighs 1.73 pounds, it's running Windows 10 Pro, and it starts at $899. Now I'm not looking for the one that's $899. The one that I want is the one running an i5 processor with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. That prices out to $1299, and that doesn't even include the touch cover or the keyboard that attaches to the Surface Pro 4. The touch cover is actually $159.99 with the fingerprint ID or the fingerprint reader, and that's the one I want. So after putting that configuration together, the total comes out to around $1460, $1458 before taxes. After taxes, you're probably looking at another $100, so for around $1550, that's what the Surface Pro 4 would cost me. And at that price, it's making me consider the Surface Book. So the Surface Book is actually a bigger display. The Surface Pro 4 is 12.3 inches, but the Surface Book is 13.5 inches, more like a traditional laptop. But the Surface Book Pro, even though it's bigger, it's actually lighter than the Surface Pro 4. It weighs in at 1.6 pounds, and a lot of that has to do with the magnesium alloy that's made out of the Surface Book. So the Surface Book starts at $1499, and that comes with an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of storage. So with that starting configuration on the Surface Book, they're about par to the configuration I want on the Surface Pro 4, with the exception of SSD storage. So the Surface Book will have 128 gigs, and the Surface Pro 4 that I want to configure would end up being 256 gigs. Now, does a 12.3-inch display versus a 13.5-inch display make a big difference? I think it depends on what you're using it for. But I think for everyday use, either or would be sufficient. With that said, I can't help but actually try to configure it differently for the Surface Book. I ended up putting together something like an i7 with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD, and I think that was already coming up to like $1,700 or $1,800, and that's really out of my price range. The reason that the Surface Book is so appealing is because the keyboard looks really, really nice. It looks like a really well-built, solid-built keyboard that can be detached. So the Surface Book can actually detach just like the Surface Pro 4 can. But on the Surface Book with an i7, when you attach the tablet or the screen to the actual base, which is the keyboard, there is another GPU on the base, which gives it better performance, better video performance. So it actually caters to people who are into gaming, into video editing and processing. It looks pretty awesome, I can't deny that, and I really want one, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money. So I've never actually messed around with any of the models from the Surface Pro lineup. I never got to really test the touchscreen or use the pen, and those are two things that I wanted to try out. And a lot of the times I'm always wondering, what would I use the touchscreen for? Like, I have my phone, I can use my phone for all the touchscreen stuff, but on an actual bigger tablet, a 12-inch one or a 13.5-inch one, what would I use a touchscreen for? Part of me owning a laptop always has a priority of keeping the screen clean. Using the touchscreen and dirtying up the screen with my fingerprints is not so appealing, but maybe that's something I have to get used to, or maybe I'm just crazy OCD, I don't know. But the pen is really intriguing, and it's something that I would like to try, even if I can use it just to write notes, maybe use it for work. So at work, I'm always writing down serial numbers and notes for new passwords and all that kind of stuff for my work, and I could see that being real handy. Instead of pulling my phone out all the time and typing everything out, I could maybe use the tablet portion of the Surface Pro 4 or the Surface Book and just write everything down with a pen. Anyway, this is my first foray into this kind of hybrid PC stuff. I have never really used anything that was a tablet slash laptop. I've always used the laptop, or I've just used a tablet separately. I've noticed though, when I've owned tablets, I actually found myself not using it much because I just end up using my phone. So I wonder what would make me use the touchscreen, what would make me use a tablet running Windows 10 Pro. I don't know. And maybe that's something I would need to look into before I just drop $1,500 or whatever on a new laptop. Do you guys use any of these? So for any of you guys watching, is this something that you use? Have you guys ever used a Surface Pro? Is it beneficial for you as far as using the touchscreen or the pen? Have you noticed that there are apps or work-related things that you use it more than using just the traditional laptop? If so, let me know. I'm actually on the fence on whether I should buy one or not. Alright guys, I'll catch you later. Take it easy.